Hi, I'm Katie Stone Perez, the Director of Mixer Interactive and Developer Success. Thanks for joining us today to talk about Mixer. So Mixer is a game broadcasting platform. So we're going to be talking about game broadcasting, otherwise known as game streaming. We're going to talk about how you can use Mixer to attract, engage, retain, and even monetize your audience. So let's jump into it. So first off, why are we taking the time today to talk as game developers about game broadcasting? Well, I'm sure it's no shock to any of you that game broadcasting has become a huge medium within the last few years. In fact, when I entered the industry, 17 years ago, I remember we took all this time to write our strategy guides and the documentation that we were going to hand out to the people, to the salespeople that were in game stores to actually go and market our game. But how we're actually marketing and selling our content has completely changed and transformed over the last few years. Game broadcasters and streamers are now all over the world, and they are a huge opportunity for us to focus on as salespeople for our game content. And the market is absolutely huge. In fact, we will actually see that more people will spend time watching games this year than actually playing the games directly themselves. That's phenomenal to even sit and think about that shift in how people are consuming content. There's a lot of different things that play into this. Sometimes people just don't have the time to have a controller or more epic experience in hand. Sometimes people want to jump into the content to actually try and make a purchase decision. People also really just love getting to see who's the best in that space. I want to get better and more skilled at this game. So show me people who are really top-notch within that experience. And then people just want to hang out and have a place to come together and form those communities. There's a lot of reasons why people come and watch game streaming content. And Mixer is really excited to be the home of one of those communities for those individuals. So Mixer launched just under a year ago. In fact, in May, we'll be coming up on our 1-year anniversary. Within that time, we've seen phenomenal growth and success of the platform. We've launched a cross-platform service. We have all kinds of innovative features and functionality within the space, but we also have hit that kind of magical live service milestone number of 10 million monthly active users, which is exciting to see. So let's go ahead and talk about what makes Mixer, Mixer. So the first thing I really want to touch on is that Mixer is really focused on community. In fact, this is what really brought me to Mixer in the first place. As someone who's worked within the game developer space for years and has really spent a lot of time working with indie developers, I've seen a lot of developers who make amazing content but have a hard time finding an audience for that content to resonate with. They have a hard time in today's world getting people to actually know about and engage with their games. And what I love about Mixer is it creates this meaningful space for people to come together and to have similar affinity towards all of this type of content with each other and build up these amazing communities. So at Mixer, our mission is to empower creators everywhere to connect with their audience and grow meaningful communities. What I love about this is when we say creators, we're not just talking about streamers. We're also talking about you as a game developer. How can we work to help empower you as a developer to connect with your audience, attract them into your game, engage them in a more meaningful and rich way within your game experience, even if they're just viewing at that point in time? And then how can we help you actually retain them and build them into a player themselves? So community is actually at the core of what Mixer is, and that's because James and Matt, two of our founders, actually were a huge part of the Minecraft community. They were teenagers in the space and were having a lot of fun streaming with their friends. And they were hearing from a lot of other streamers that people wanted more real-time conversations. At the time, there was this huge delay between what they were doing within their Minecraft games and then how long it took for viewers to actually see that, to chat and type something, and then for them to actually see that response. By the time they actually saw those messages, they had already moved off. They had already done something different within the game. So they wanted to create this real-time, or what we call faster-than-light streaming platform, where with sub-second latency, the viewers can see exactly what the streamers are doing. They can chat, comment, and really have a conversation. Once Mixer had that real-time conversation, it really paved the way for other dynamic changes within this space. The next thing up was obviously looking at how you bridge that communication even more between viewer and player. So Mixer's interactivity platform was born. Interactivity on Mixer is the ability to not only take your games and have people end up watching them, but have them start to play along. They can start cheering on for the streamer. They can be actively participating in the game, deciding which zone should be closed or what player should be hunted. With Mixer's interactivity platform, you can let players start to kind of dip their toe in the water or fully engage and become the full player themselves. Community is also core to several of our other key features on Mixer, such as our co-streaming platform. Co-streaming is the ability to show several different Mixer streams all within a single UI experience. Now this is really cool because it's really up to the individual streamers to decide what they want to do within their community and how they want to come together to bring their communities together. I've seen co-streams where it's 4 people within the exact same match all playing the same thing, and I've seen co-streams where it's one person playing a first-person shooter and another person sewing. Again, it's really about empowering our creators to develop their communities that are rich and meaningful to them. Another key feature of our platform is that we're completely platform agnostic and we're on multiple different platforms. So for you as a game developer, you don't have to think about what your different platform strategy is. You can work on integrating with Mixer and have success across all of these different verticals. So here we are within Deep Rock Galactic. Now this is a game where the developers have chosen elements that I can do to help the player or make life a little bit more difficult. So as a viewer, I can go ahead and spawn a grunt. You'll see that instantly within the game, you see Sweets has spawned a grunt, and that grunt is now going to appear and it will actually have my gamer tag over on top of it. Now let's go ahead and make life a little bit more distracting. He's trying to mine, but let's go ahead and send in some more enemies. Let's heal him as well. You can see again, Sweets has healed you. Let's spawn another grunt, make it a little more interesting. And so you can see as well, you'll even see my gamer tag on top of the enemies that have been spawned, helping give that streamer the direct visual of exactly who is participating and taking place with these actions within the world. And again, this is an opportunity for you to really decide as a game developer what kind of interactions you want to enable your viewers to have, really transforming them from viewers into players. Cool, so that's a quick glimpse of Deep Rock Galactic, so let's go ahead and jump over to the talk. So now that you've seen a demo of what Mixer interactivity looks like in-game, let's talk about some of the other new features coming to Mixer. So launching last year in December 2017, we released Hype Zone. Hype Zone is about taking all of your magic moments of gameplay and letting viewers have access to those moments one after another, creating this amazing immersive experience. It's almost like watching highlight clips. So basically, Hype Zone is done all through visual machine learning. We have it launched today for both PUBG and Fortnite, and those developers didn't need to actually write a single line of code for our Hype Zone implementations. So we are basically looking, and in both of those games, you end up having a number of players left on screen. So you end up having a visual on screen of the number of players left alive in the game. We can then anticipate that the fewer number of players left alive within the game, the more meaningful gameplay that's going to occur. So we can jump viewers in this stream from channel to channel to channel to the player that is the furthest along and most likely to end up winning that game experience. Again, what's really cool about Hype Zone is that it captures all of the native streams that are currently happening. So not only do you have all of these professional streamers who are streaming with their huge audiences out there, but you're able to take these small native broadcasters who might only have a couple individuals currently watching them as they stream from their Xbox or Windows 10 PC, and you're able to put them front and center in front of the cameras and in front of the crowd. This is a great opportunity to allow streamers to find a larger audience, but also to take viewers of your experience and really showcase them some of the most unique and innovative players that are within your game space. Hype Zone is currently available to implement in other large games as well. So if you're interested in having a Hype Zone channel created for your game, please reach out to your Mixer account manager. Direct purchase in Mixer allows streamers to actually monetize off the content that they promote to their channel and to their community. So what's cool about this functionality is that streamers can actually choose to promote any game, DLC, or bundle, and then they actually will get an affiliate reward for having promoted that game within their channel for any of the purchases that are actually made. And that affiliate reward will actually come from the Microsoft share. This is also a great feature to think about because if you as a game developer have multiple titles within your franchise, then you can actually have people streaming one of your previous game experiences, but actually promoting your new pre-order that's currently available. So that's another way to constantly engage your audience and engage the streamer and have them be that salesperson working on behalf of your title. Another new feature we've just released is test streams. This one's kind of self-explanatory, so it's the ability for you as a developer to go ahead and test out your functionality, including your interactivity, without anyone else being able to see your content. This is available by contacting your Mixer account manager, and we can work with you to get this set up. So let's talk about some of the upcoming features and functionality rolling out. So as you saw in the demo of Deep Rock Galactic, currently Mixer interactivity lives below the video, and it previously existed with kind of unstyled buttons. So everything kind of looked very consistent from one interactive board to another. Now, with our new custom controls technology, you're able to completely immerse players within your game experience. So this means that you have full control over how those buttons and different interactive elements appear. You can change the colors, you can change the background images, you really have the ability to make it feel like part of your game. And now you can actually bring those interactive elements up on top of your video directly. So you can do that by having kind of a full screen overlay on top of the game. You can end up having kind of like a sidebar where content kind of slides out if you have interactive votes that are coming on and off screen. You can end up having just a few specific buttons on the screen. Or you can really even think about how you can change what you're showing and displaying in terms of interactive controls during different parts of your game. For instance, if I'm currently playing through a game and I'm watching someone play a first-person shooter, I might just be watching them and I really want to focus in on the gameplay. But during the loading screen and the matchmaking screen, that's something that's less interesting to me as a viewer, and it might be an opportunity where I might choose to then kind of switch out of that person's stream. But if all of a sudden, if I can actually have this additional information on screen, such as player stat cards for everybody who I just watched play the game, or their weapon loadouts, then that can create new and valuable information for me. So you as a game developer can actually choose and say, hey, this is a moment where what's happening within the streamer's view is actually less interesting. Let's go ahead and shrink that real estate down, and let's go ahead and then fill that individual screen with really content relevant information. Another key feature that we're really excited to release for GDC 2018 is our new custom prefabs. So this lets developers have much faster access into our content. We really want creating interactive experiences to be as easy as possible for you as developers. So we've created a series of prefabs that are available, including buttons, text labels, and text input entry. That's our initial prefabs that are released at GDC 2018, and the additional prefabs will be releasing soon as well. These prefabs are currently available to be edited within our interactive studio and can be highly customized to fit your game experiences, including all of the images, background content, all of that kind of stuff can really be made to match your experience. Especially if you end up partnering these with something like a debug cheat within your game experience, you could have a full interactive experience up and working incredibly quickly. Now, what's really cool about this as well is that, again, it makes it a lot easier for you as a developer to get up and running fast. So like I said, at GDC 2018, we'll be releasing the buttons, the labels, and the text input. And then you'll see we have several additional prefabs coming shortly after that. What's going to be really cool too is additionally to being able to put these below the video, coming in just a few weeks, you'll actually be able to move these on top of the video experience as well, similar to our full bespoke custom controls. Another cool feature I want to talk about is Share Controller. Shared controller is actually something that leverages our Xbox Copilot APIs. So if you're not familiar with Copilot, it's actually one of the features I really love about Xbox because I'm a mom and I have little kids. So Copilot is the ability to take and actually merge two controller inputs together. So what I do with my daughter is I'll let her actually be playing on one controller, and she'll get to a part where she can't kind of make a jump, and then I'm able to take my controller, she still has her controller in hand, and I'm able to just do the jump for her. And it kind of merges the two inputs of those controllers together. Her character makes the jump within the game, and then she's off and kind of running again, and I haven't really had to really intercede and like grab the controller out of her hands. Well, now you as a streamer can actually take and do that as well. So streamers can now actually share their controllers with their Mixer audience, giving them the ability to hand over that shared control to a single one of their Mixer viewers. This is a really fun way to end up in some kind of zany experiences. One of my favorite things to do is actually to play something like Geometry Wars, where you guys just decide that one of you guys is going to aim and one of you is going to shoot, and just kind of see how that goes down. So now, as game developers, let's talk about what you can do to actually design strong interactive experiences and content. So just with making any game, there are really key best practices that you want to follow. The first thing you really want to think about is, what are the goals within your game? What are you trying to create within your community? What are your social goals? What are your engagement goals? And what kind of things are you putting in place? Then look at how Mixer can use our systems to help support and deliver against those goals. One of the first things you then want to think about is, do you want to build experiences where you're letting the viewers actually help the streamers? Or do you want to create experiences where they can hurt the streamers? Or do you want to create a mixture of both? It's important to remember that if you create anything that is too punishing for a streamer, they're going to turn it off. You need to think of the streamer as one of your primary customers of your game experience. If you can create content that they find engaging and it helps them build strong communities, they will be more likely to come back and play your content. They will be more likely to talk positively about your content and promote your content. So you really need to think about that streamer success and what kind of tools you can give them to build their communities. Now again, with that, you can have scenarios where their viewers can help them and can hurt them. You can get into a lot of fun where I'm sending enemies in to attack my developer and things like that. But again, remember that you don't want to be too punishing, and there are unfortunately trolls in the world, so you do need to design with that in mind. The one thing that I actually think is kind of cool is that a lot of streamers are in a lot of cases performing. They have to spend a lot of time off camera prepping for their streams, learning the content, and even learning things like where they're going to jump out of or fall off their chair and things like that. By adding in Mixer interactivity, it adds this rawness back into those experiences. So it's no longer this kind of performance that's happening, but really, again, this real-time conversation and communication between the streamer and their community. So now I'm playing along within my game experience, and people do send those enemies at me, and it creates this really funny experience. Or they can create a jump scare for me, or whatever that is. So I do think there are very valid scenarios in which to use different hurt versus help mechanics, but again, really think about what your key principles and are trying to build are. You could even create scenarios within your game where you allow streamers to choose if they want to stream with only help mechanics, hurt mechanics, or a mixture of both. Viewer attribution is another key thing to think about. If you go and watch any streamer today, you will see that as soon as you follow or as soon as you subscribe, there's all kinds of bling and there's all kinds of noises and everything kind of goes crazy on the screen. Streamers have learned that their viewers like to be rewarded and noticed when they engage with the stream. As game developers, we need to take that same principle and make sure that we're bringing it into our experiences. As you saw within the demo, just spawning my name over the enemy immediately makes me feel valuable, and that because I showed up, the experience was different for that streamer and the game today and the community today. Additionally, it creates this strong moment of conversation where the streamer can then be like, "Sweets, what are you doing to me? You spawned another enemy," right? So it creates that conversation moment. Viewer attribution can also be done in many different ways. You can end up showing results of votes within the screen. You can show leaderboards of which players had the most impact within the different experiences. You can even take viewers who are watching and assign them to NPC characters so that the NPC characters actually take over the names of different viewers. There's a lot of different ways to make people feel like because they showed up, they made a difference. Another thing to really think about that aligns really well with that is that together we can be better. So I love this principle of really recognizing the fact that this streamer has hundreds or potentially thousands of people watching them. How are we going to reward this streamer and all of these viewers and make them more successful and better together? There are many different types of things that you can do within this space. You can let the crowd go ahead and hype up that streamer. They can heal the streamer. You know, by cheering them on, maybe the stadium actually starts to react within the game experience, and you actually start to hear the fans in the stadium starting to cheer, and then the players on the field do a little bit better. We have this concept in Seattle with our Seahawks of the 12th man. What that means is that we believe that the team is so valuable that it's essentially another player directly playing on the player field. How can you take that concept of the 12th man and bring that into your game experience? Helping the streamer be better because they have this huge audience with them and watching them and rooting for them. And how can you take all of those viewers and help them get some additional benefit because they were a part of that experience? It's also critically important to really think about scale of your experience. It's really easy to create certain experiences that work well with, 50 or 100 individuals. But what about several thousand individuals? What about several hundreds of thousands of individuals? Whatever your game you're creating, it's important to think of what your target viewing audience is going to be and design with that in mind. You can even design different levels of interactivity and different groups, really, based off of different audience populations. So you could actually choose to show different experiences to audience groups of different sizes, or you could even choose to have certain levels of interactivity available to everyone, and then a more meaningful and deeper set of interactivity available to a smaller audience or group. So that's something you want to take into consideration as well. Again, it's also really important to just use some key basic game design principles, like what is your core replay loop? It's really easy to think about how to design something for interactive that can be really silly and fun for 5 minutes. But again, is this something that's going to create a meaningful experience between the streamer and their community? If it's not, then the streamer's likely going to play it for a few minutes to a few hours and not come back to it tomorrow. So think about what that core replay loop is and how to add that value into that experience. Again, really thinking of the streamer as a customer. You can also use cooldown and sparks to help balance your interactive elements. So sparks are our digital currency that we currently have on Mixer, and viewers can earn this currency just from watching Mixer. So you can then choose to have certain interactive elements be completely free, or they can have spark costs assigned to them. Most Mixer viewers have between a couple hundred and several thousand sparks, although we do have audience members with over 1 million sparks, so you definitely want to take that into account. Another way to time and limit how often something can happen is to use the cooldown feature. So again, you saw this happen in the demo earlier where I couldn't heal the developer right away because I was waiting for that experience to cool down. So that's another way. So you might have certain functionality that's incredibly powerful within your experience. You might want that to cost a lot of sparks and only be something that can happen every X number of minutes within the experience. So let's talk about some different types of scenarios of information and controls that you can put on the screen to engage your users. So one of the first things you can do are just those community mechanics. So again, this is how do you make players feel a part of the community? They can cheer people on or hype them up. A great thing to think about here is what if you actually let the viewers kind of cheer them on and they can actually get that streamer to a point where they're getting bonus XP. And then maybe as a viewer, they're actually going to get some of that bonus XP as well. You can also do things that are really just rich information display. So again, we talked about the scenario where someone can be in a matchmaking screen, and that's a great time to end up showing all of these player stat cards. And I can actually go in and look at someone's KD ratio. I can look at what kind of weapon loadout they were using. I can go in and search for all this information. I could have maps. You could end up showing me kind of the kill map where everyone ended up dying on the last level. You could end up putting up a map and actually letting the viewers choose where they wanted something like the next loot drop to happen. So those are all different types of information display that you could have. You also have these direct help versus hurt mechanics. So again, these are scenarios where the viewers themselves start to really become part of the player. They actually are getting to choose things like which players should be healed, or should I send in a horde of zombies at this moment? They can choose things like which zone should be closed, or what weapons should be used in the next match type, or what the weather should currently be in a game, or even what level people should play with next. These are all different elements that can be exposed to a player, and you can really choose to expose these based off of all different kinds of criteria. And then we actually have the next extension, which is taking the viewer and actually making them the player, and really having the streamer no longer be a primary player, but more a facilitator, or what we call Mixer original games, where you have games that are designed for Mixer originally, and they are streamed directly to Mixer, and that's really the only instance of the game. So the only way to actually play that experience is to go on Mixer directly. So a lot of different experiences can be within the space. One that jumps to mind instantly is being able to do kind of different voting mechanics and quiz shows and things like that. But you have all different kinds of epic experiences that can happen. We have a great game called Death's Door where you can actually go online, and the Mixer viewers actually get to play this RPG, and they actually all get to decide together, are we going to go into town, or are we going to go ahead and search the house that's in front of us? And whatever the Mixer viewers decide is actually what ends up happening within the gameplay. Again, you can also use interactive groups to create different scenes for your different types of viewers. So you can do this with a lot of different premises. So you can end up putting different players into an attack type of group versus a defense group, and you could do that just randomly as players join within the viewing experience. You could end up having different scenes and interactivity for players who are subscribers to that individual streamer's channel, or who are subscribers to your game channel. You could end up having different experiences available to people based off of their participation or other things that they've earned within that experience, their rewards, all of that type of thing. So this, again, is a great way to also handle those scale scenarios, to really think about, do you want to have different experiences for different levels of scale? When designing for Mixer, it's also important to remember that this is a multi-platform viewing experience. So you are going to have viewers watching this on PC, on console, on their mobile phones, on our mobile apps, all of these different platforms. And with that, they're going to have really different interaction models. So while they would have something like hover and click on their PC and desktop, and while they would have kind of the focus state on controller, they're going to just have touch on mobile platforms. So you really want to take that into consideration when designing your UI experiences. It's also important to remember that interactivity and being able to transform from a viewer into a player is a completely new space, which means that you need to explain those experiences to your streamer within your UI experiences. You need to make sure that viewers really understand when they can interact with the content that's currently on the screen, especially if it's something where you're bringing up votes and kind of pulling those back, so there's not kind of a consistent point of interactivity. We recommend really picking and using like specific colors or iconography within your screen experience. And you can really make it feel like whatever matches your game, but really helping to indicate to viewers that now is an interaction point and what exactly they can do. Make sure to help explain it, because if streamers have to constantly explain to every new person who joins their stream, this is what you do and this is what we're doing and here's how it works, it's going to get really tiring for them. So again, use the real estate you have to help inform people about what's happening so that they can instantly get in and find these meaningful experiences within your game content. It's also really important to think about what type of information and UI you actually want to put in your interactive layer versus within your game experience. So all of your interactive elements where the player, who is the viewer, is going to be interacting with them, those will show up in the Mixer UI experience. So those will be the elements that they're directly clicking and engaging with to then have that action occur within the game. But you often want some kind of visual to then show up within the game directly, so that not only the streamer, but even other players within the game experience can understand that someone's streaming, and especially if the Mixer viewers just voted on something that's going to have some type of impact within the game, for instance, like a player that's going to be Manhunt, you really want all of the players within that game experience to see the results of that vote and understand what's happening. So again, you can really have different UI elements that occur just for the viewers within Mixer, as well as then what happens within that game experience. Remember, player attribution is key, and by putting the visuals of what's actually happening within the Mixer interactive elements and what people are voting on or what people are doing into the game directly, the streamer can continue to just focus on their game, but they'll still see and understand what's really happening, giving them the ability to have that deeper, more meaningful conversation with their audience. Again, you also really want to design with streaming culture in mind. Streamers have a lot of stuff going on, and so it's really important to recognize that. You know, again, they have these follows, they have subscribes, they have, you know, goals and that they're trying to hit in terms of financial rewards and all of this kind of stuff. So it's important that you're designing your elements where it's not going to really clash with what they're doing. One of the key areas that we really recommend not putting any content is in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, since that's where most streamers will actually put their camera feed or their avatar. Again, if you can really think about your streamer as a customer, you can help ensure that they will be more likely to play and engage with your experiences. So, what are some next steps to actually start getting your content onto Mixer? Again, we really recommend that you think about what your goals are to attract, engage, and retain players, how you're planning to use social media for that, what your streaming strategy is, and then reach out to us on Mixer and we can work with you and partner with you on designing different implementation scenarios that could really deliver against those goals. There are different types of Mixer interactive experiences that can be delivered against any type of game in a rich and meaningful way. Whether you want to actually let players, you know, have full impact and actually change the outcome of what's happening within the game experience, or whether you just want to have the viewers be able to cheer people along. There are rich and meaningful experiences that can be created for everyone. We also have lots of promotional opportunities on Mixer, which is another great reason to reach out to us. So we have a lot of different platform and dashboards that we can feature your content on. And even if you're not designing interactive experiences, we can still work with you on supporting the streaming launch of your game so that we can help ensure that our partners are aware of what your game is all about and kind of those key magic moments within the stream. We also have Mixer Partner Press Kits. This is an opportunity for you as a game developer to fill out this information that we can then provide to our partner streamers. It helps streamers understand what kind of those magic moments within your game are. If you can help reduce the homework and the amount of churn that they have to spend to get ready to stream your content, again, they're more likely to actually engage and stream that content. If you'd like to engage with us and get a Mixer Partner Press Kit out to our partners, please reach out to our Mixer developer account managers. So what can you do to get started today? Well, first off, it's incredibly easy to go ahead and just create an account on Mixer. We can work with you to get your account verified so that you can be an official channel on the platform. And then if you're already streaming, you can even just start dual streaming to Mixer. It doesn't even have to be your primary streaming platform. If you'd like any information on how to start streaming on the platform today, again, please reach out to us and we can help give you that info. We can also really work with you to get those Mixer Partner Press Kits out to our partners so that they're aware of your content launch dates and those key magic moments and game experiences. Even better is then allowing your viewers to have real, meaningful, interactive experiences within your game. Whether it's allowing your viewers to cheer along their favorite streamers or allowing them to actually control the game and make significant changes, or really become the player themselves. There's a wide range of interactive experience options, and when partnering with Microsoft and Mixer, you can make sure that we're helping promote and make sure that everybody's aware of what those key opportunities are. So if you'd like to go ahead and engage us now, please reach out to the email down below, mixerdevinfo@microsoft.com, and we look forward to hearing more about your game experience and seeing what you create with Mixer's interactive toolkit. Thanks a lot.